Hi everyone. So we're racing a little bit of rain here, but I had to get on here and get this out because it's something that's been on my mind a lot. And it has to do with the whole aspect of mindfulness. Mindfulness is an incredibly powerful tool, don't get me wrong. But it is often very ethereal. It's not really grounded in anywhere practical that we can put our hands on. So just going by the nature of the mind and how the mind works, the mind is always racing. The mind is always trying to solve a problem and never really stops. When people talk about mindfulness, they want to be more centered and grounded in what they're doing. The issue with that is that it takes a long time to train the mind. And so a lot of people get discouraged, or they think mindfulness is this big, giant hurdle to be crossed. And this is where the breath comes in yet again. The breath is something concrete. You can feel it. Even though it links between what is happening outside of you and what is happening within you, it is that anchor between those two worlds. It is something that you can access and shift. And that's the whole key right there. The fact that you can shift things for yourself by accessing the breath, by touching on it and using it properly, means you have so much greater control. And it is such a more greater tool to control your state of being, your thoughts, your focus. The breath, when you consciously shift it, it does have the potential to consciously shift your state of being. Now, when you're walking through your life, things are happening to you all the time. Things happen to all of us that are out of our control. So what do? We react. And oftentimes these reacts are habitual reactions. They're not something we practice. However, when we try to change those reactions, we have to face against habits. And habits are these sequences of patterns that we've developed that we have decided are useful. And oftentimes they're useful just on a survival sense. Like, this will get me by, this will get me to the next situation, this will help me survive on a very base level. But that is not the way society moves forward. That is not the way a species moves forward, rather. We want to adapt and change these habits. So, mindfulness is often the practice. You want to be mindful of your reactions. You want to be present with how you're feeling and touch in on it. But that takes, like I said, a lot of practice, because the mind is always going to be coming up with new situations, new inputs are always going to be coming in, things are going to be happening in your life. So instead, we apply the breath to. The breath is going to show you how you're reacting to the ails that come upon your life, the issues, the slip on a banana peel, or the egg carton crashing on the ground, or a near miss on the highway, or a really stressful situation at work, or a loved one experiencing some really bad news. That latter one is a little bit different, but all of the other physical situations that come upon you, and I say that one is different because that's an emotion that we can actually use to further ourselves and deepen our mental and spiritual connections to the rest of life. Those are really useful. The other ones are just inconveniences. They are dangerous sometimes, sure, but really, there are moments when we are shocked and we have an emotion. We have energy that runs through us, and it wants to propel us away from that stressful situation. So our adrenals fire and we become stressed to get out of that situation. Well, if we don't deal with that, if we don't deal with that reaction, this is where chronic stress comes in, right? So this is how we're seeing the breath actually become a useful tool for better health and mindfulness. Because when mindfulness is applied, you're simply using the mind. However, when you apply the breath, and you apply the right breath patterns, you actually can control the way you react to a situation. You can change the physiological reaction that's happening within you, have less stress in the situation, deal with it quicker, move on with your life, and be more composed and a balanced human being that is useful to people and not obsessed or absorbed with the situation that's happening. I mean, if that doesn't sound like a bargain to you, then I must not be selling this correctly. But it is a vastly more powerful tool than simply mindfulness. Applying simple breath patterns in the moment, means that you don't have to be taking a breath class for 2 hours every 3 weeks and going into big dark revelries of examining these altered states of consciousness. You don't have to be doing that. In the moment, you can apply the breath. And to me, it's just tragic that people aren't taught the breath, which is why I'm doing this. This is something that needs to be, well, if it needs to be a part of our lives, because it's a tool that's given to us, and it would be silly for us not to take advantage of this to make our lives more whole, to make ourselves more well, to make ourselves more clear mentally and able to be present in situations and enjoy life more. And it's not all about enjoyment, but if we are to advance the species, being a useful human, present in the moment and not stuck in some situation that's already passed and already has happened, being able to deal with these things effectively extends so much further into life, which is why I'm really passionate about this. So, if you're looking for breath work practices, if you're looking for healthy breath patterns, I'm going to be putting a lot more videos, descriptions. I'm going to be diving deep into the functions of the breath on both here on my YouTube channel, but also on my website, and probably other places too. This is an incredibly powerful tool, and we are stepping into a time when the science is coming out and we're starting to understand it. This is truly your inner power, to be able to control the way you react to life, the way you treat yourself in difficult situations. You can use it at any time. It's a beautiful thing. It's changed my life. I hope this is part of the journey of you transforming yours and taking more control over your reactions and ultimately your life. Wishing you all the best. Much love. Peace.